Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we're going to be talking about the substitution rule for integration, or specifically what we call U-substitution. The substitution rule states that if u equals gx is a differentiable function whose range is an interval I, and f is continuous on I, then we have the integral of f of g of x times the derivative g prime of x dx. This will be equal to the integral of f u du. So what this means then is that if we know what our function is, we can figure out some g of x within that function, some function within the function, and the derivative of that, we could substitute u in and solve for that to get the same integral as this original integral of f of x. So this concept is actually easiest to see if we do some examples, kind of jump right in and see how this works. So suppose that we have the integral of x cubed cosine of x to the fourth power plus 2 dx. How would we solve this, right? This doesn't really work with the rules we've looked at previously. So what we're going to do is we're going to let u be equal to this x to the fourth plus 2. So much like when we were doing our chain rule for derivatives, we're going to let this be equal to u. So based on that, if we were to take the derivative of this u, which would give us du, this would be equal to, right, do the derivative, use your power rule, bring the 4 down, subtract 1 from the power, so we get 4x cubed. This is what the derivative of this is, but we have to take into account this was originally in terms of x, so this would be 4x cubed dx, right? Because we have to do our chain rule, right? Just like when we did d dx of y, we would do y prime, or dy dx. Same thing here, we have dx. And then if we were to look at this dx term here, we have this here. We have x cubed dx within our integral. So x cubed dx. So if we look at this now, we have x cubed dx. And what we want to do is we want to get this into terms of this du. Because whenever we do our u substitution, we have to now take the integral with respect to u. So how does this relate? Well, we have that du is 4x cubed. So what would make this equivalent is if it was equal to 1 over 4x cubed dx, meaning that this would be equal to 1 over 4 du. So this means now that we could substitute this x cubed dx with 1/4 du. So now that we have that, we can go back to our original integration. So we're going to have our integral of x cubed cosine of x to the fourth plus 2 dx. This is going to be equal to the integral of cosine. Remember, now it's going to be the cosine of u. So we have the cosine of u. And then we just said that our dx, which is going to replace this x cubed dx, is going to become 1/4 du. Now, using our integration rules, we know that this constant can be pulled out. So this is going to now become 1/4 integral of cosine of u du. So now solving this using integration, right, we find the antiderivative. What's the antiderivative of cosine? It's going to be sine. So this is going to become 1/4 sine of u plus our c, because we took the antiderivative and this is an indefinite integral. And the last step, now we're just going to take that u and we're going to substitute it back in place of the u that we put in to substitute for it. So this is going to become 1 over 4 sine of x to the fourth power plus 2 plus c. For our second example, we want to evaluate the integral of the square root of 2x plus 1 dx. So just like before, this isn't one that we can solve directly, because even if we change this to 2x plus 1 to the 1/2 power, we still don't really have a way we can directly solve this right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute this 2x plus 1, and we're going to write that as our u. So we're going to have this is going to be our u term. So we'll have u equals 2x plus 1. And now based on that, if we were to look at our du, right, we take the derivative of this, we're going to get that this is going to be equal to 2 dx, right? Now, what we need to do is we need to figure out what would make this dx go away based on this. So we're just going to divide both sides by 2. And we're going to have that dx is equal to 1/2 du. So now we can just do our substitution. So this integral, the square root of 2x plus 1 dx, is now going to be the integral of the square root of u 1/2 du. And then just like before, what can we do? Well, this 1/2 is a constant, so this can be pulled outside the integral. And I'm going to rewrite this u as the square root of u to the u to the 1/2 power. So this is going to be 1/2 the integral of u to the 1/2 power du. And now, just like before, we can find the antiderivative of this u to the 1/2 power by doing the inverse of the power rule. So this is going to leave us with 1/2 times. So we have u to the 1/2. What do? We bring the power up by 1, so this becomes 3/2, and then we bring that 3/2 to the denominator, which becomes flipped, so it becomes 2/3. So this will be 2/3 u to the 3/2 power. And then, of course, we have to add our plus c because this is an indefinite integral. So plus c. This 2 here is going to cancel with this 2 here, and this will just end up being 1/3 u to the 3/2 power plus c. Now we can substitute our u back into this, so we're going to be left with 1/3 times 2x plus 1 to the 3/2 power plus c. And then if we want to just get it into the same form we had at the beginning, we can just change this back in terms of square roots. This is going to be 1/3 square root of 2x plus 1 cubed plus c. For our next example, we want to find the integral of x divided by the square root of 1 minus 4x squared dx. So just like before, we have to figure out what we can do U-substitution for. Now, I will state right now that sometimes finding something you can do U-substitution for is not always straightforward, right? When we're in this section of the book, the problems are specifically made so that something substitutes in nicely to make this very easy to do. But there will be later methods that you're going to learn, for example, like doing calculus 2, stuff like that, where what do you do when even this fails? But for now, let's focus on the fact that we're going to use 1 minus 4x squared as our u. So we have u equals 1 minus 4x squared. So next we need to figure out what is our du. So we take the derivative of this, derivative of constant, equal to 0. We have minus 4x squared. So we take the derivative of x squared, we bring down the 2. So this is going to be minus 8x. Subtract 1 from the power, we're going to get minus 8x. And then we need to also include our dx. So now what we need to do is we need to consider the fact, though, that when we do this substitution, we're going to have the square root of u. We're still left with an x and dx. So we need to figure out if we have x dx, how is this related to our u, which we said, or rather our du, which is du is equal to minus 8x dx. So right here, if you look, we have x dx. So what we need to do is we just would divide both sides by -8. And this would give us that our x dx is equal to minus 1/8 du. So now we can actually plug all this back into our original integration. So we had our original integration, which was x over the square root of 1 minus 4x squared dx. And this is going to be equal to, I'm just going to pull that constant out like we end up doing in the second step anyway. So this is going to end up being minus 1/8 integral of 1 over, we have the square root of, this became u, so square root of u du. Now, if we want to actually figure out what this is, we're first going to rearrange this 1 over square root of u in terms of a power. So this is going to be equal to minus 1/8, the integral. So square root of u is u to the 1/2. But putting in the denominator, this becomes a negative power if we want to put it back in the numerator. So this is going to be u to the negative 1/2 power du. And now we can solve this using our antiderivative. So what is the antiderivative of u to the negative 1/2? Well, we're going to add 1 to this power. So this is going to be minus 1/8. So this negative 1/2 becomes plus 1, so it becomes u to the 1/2. And then we divide by 1/2, which is the same thing as multiplying by 2. So we have negative 1/8 times 2 times u to the 1/2 power. So then rewriting this in terms, plus RC. So then rewriting this, we're going to have that this is equal to, this 2 is going to cancel with part of this 8, leaving us 4. So we're going to have minus 1/4 square root of u plus c. And now we're going to substitute our u back into this, and this is going to give us minus 1/4 square root of 1 minus 4x squared plus c. For our next example, we're going to take the integral of e to the 5x dx, and we're going to evaluate this. So generally when you're doing U-substitution, you want to replace the thing that's causing difficulty with your u. Well, finding the antiderivative of e is easy. It's just e. So it's going to be this 5x that's going to be causing us any issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our u equal to 5x. And then, of course, if we solve for the derivative of u, we're going to take the derivative of 5x, just going to leave us with 5. So we're going to have 5 dx. So looking at what we have here, we have dx, but we don't have anything else. So we really just need to isolate dx by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to divide both sides of this by 5. And this is going to mean that we have 1/5 du equals dx. And that's going to be what we substitute in to our dx here. So now our integral e to the 5x dx is going to become the integral of e to the u. We have our 1/5, so times 1/5 du. And just like before, this 1/5 can be pulled out, giving us 1/5 integral e to the u du. So now we just got to figure out what our antiderivative of e to the u is. Well, our antiderivative of e to the u is just going to be e to the u. So this is going to be 1/5 e to the u plus c. And then the last thing we do, we plug our u back in. We said that our u originally was 5x. So this is going to be equal to 1/5 e to the 5x plus c. For example 5, we want to find the integral of tangent of x dx. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, this one we're actually going to be using the fact that if we have the tangent of x, this is equal to the sine of x over cosine of x. So what we're going to do is we're going to let u be equal to cosine of x. And you might wonder, why did I choose cosine? Well, it's because now when I take the derivative of this cosine, what does this become? Well, the derivative of cosine is going to be negative sine of x. So we have du equals negative sine x dx. So now let's actually look at this tangent over here, right? So we have cosine, we just said is going to be equal to u. So what are we left with in our integral? Well, we've got sine of x dx. So right now we have negative sine of x dx is equal to du. So all I have to do is I just have to bring the negative to the other side, and I will have that negative du equals sine of x dx. So this means that now this is going to become, so this integral tangent of x dx can be rewritten as the integral of, actually let's first write it this way, sine of x over cosine of x dx, which is going to be equal to negative, I'm going to pull that negative out front, integral of 1 over u du. And now what we need to do is we just need to figure out what the antiderivative of 1 over u is. Now, if you remember from our antiderivative rules or our indefinite integral rules, this is just going to be equal to the natural log of the absolute value of this u. So this is going to be equal to a negative, right? So we have our negative here, natural log of the absolute value of u plus c. And then what we're going to do is we're going to substitute our u back into this, which remember is cosine of x. So this is going to give us a final answer of negative natural log of the absolute value of cosine of x plus c. So this actually concludes all of our material from Introductory Calculus 1. If you're interested in learning more, I am going to have more videos I'll be posting on the supplementary calculus lessons, and eventually I will come back and do Calculus 2, Calculus 3, things like that. But I actually have some plans first to move back into statistics for a while, doing mathematical statistics, probably probability, statistical learning, things like that. But overall, we've now covered all the material from Calculus 1, and I really do hope that it's been helpful on your journey as you try to learn and understand and start to implement calculus. Thank you for watching. To continue learning, click the linked video here for the next lesson. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.